Use Multilink, Jamaica's largest debit card network, and roll with control of your money. Fast, secure, everywhere. The time by Multilink is
It's a minute after 3 o'clock on the sound of Love 101, the family station. I tell you, 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 I tell you. Hey, I am joined live. I am joined live inside CELEB Circuit by a well-known art practitioner. That's I'll put it like that. A well-known art practitioner, Michael Nicholson. You know him better as String Beans. Good afternoon. Welcome to CELEB Circuit, sir.
Good afternoon, Pastor Dean. How are you?
I am doing well. Before I say I'm doing well, I am in a straight betwixt, if I'm to use a King James term, because I have a riddle and I'm being teased in my own classroom because a particular student has slapped away all my questions with consummate ease, and
Wow.
they're laughing at me right now. But it's all good. It's all good.
I said that. I hear
How
it.
are you doing? How are you
I'm
doing?
fine, thank you. I'm fine.
All right. So great to have you. Great to have you inside a celeb circuit. You have a storied career as a child. I remember watching you on different programs. I remember Star Search at Trucks. There was some time. No, not Star Search. One of the coming out. Yeah. You had some connection to that as well, and a
Yeah,
Royal
I
Palm
was a,
State.
I was a
Yeah,
judge there at one point. Yes.
yeah. So I used to watch you with so many different things. How did you get involved in that acting?
Well, it all started out in Savin, Westmoreland. I just like to big up my old school, Godfrey Stewart High, which used to be sub secondary back in the day. Right. I was a festival baby, so I would enter festival each year. I had a music speech or drama, and we did pretty well each time. So on doing that, I was encouraged to become a part of a theater company called the Westmoreland Amateur Theater Group. But my really big break came when I used to perform with the Hatfield Folk and Cultural Group, where we used to perform at different hotels. So I have to big up Dean Robinson and Gene Robinson are some of the founders of that group. And they were the ones who kind of channeled my life into getting into theater and taking it more seriously. So after graduating from school, I actually took the test for Michael and for the School of Drama at the time, passed for both of them, but made the choice to go to Edna Manley. And the rest,
Wow.
as they say, is history.
All right. So you had the credentials to go into Michael to be a teacher, perhaps a more established profession at the time. Was
No,
there any?
hold on a minute. Don't stop,
Mhm.
stop before you even go any further. As it turned out, after graduating, some of my Myconian friends ended up together at Arden High School. So I was actually teaching. I taught for 10 years at Arden.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. So
as speech, drama, literature,
eventually.
and English language teacher.
Okay, eventually you ended up there. But was there a pushback from your family, friends, seeing you go the route of drama, learning that rather than going the safe route?
There was at first, but I was good at it. I was good at speech, I was good at drama. I was always acting out something, I was always doing some speech for somebody, I was always emceeing something. So the talent was there. So my parents said, well, look, if that's what's gonna make you happy, then by all means go for it. So that's what ended up happening. And I think they've been proud of me ever since. So
Okay,
I'm happy
okay,
about that.
I can imagine. Now, tell me, what was it like? Getting that big break. Rubbing shoulders with some of the more established names in acting in Jamaica. What was it like for you? Were you nervous? How did you adapt to it, or did the preparation from high school help you to move seamlessly in it?
Well, after going to Edna Manley College, you met a lot of them coming through the school. They would do master classes, they would guide you as to what you should do and how you should proceed. But But part of the problem I had was I wanted to go out there and act immediately. And one of my mentors and friends, Oliver Samuel, said, "Look, you can't just go out there and do it. Do the training, learn the craft, and then when you're ready, you can go out there." So after Edna Manley College and teaching at Arden, I went and I auditioned for the pantomime, the national pantomime at the time, which was also another inspiration because when I first saw it as a student coming into Kingston and seeing the pantomime, I thought that was it. This is where I was destined to be. So as it turned out, when I did the pantomime, I actually got a chance to audition, and in getting through with that particular show, I ended up performing with the likes of Oliver Samuels, Leonie Forbes, Wally Johnson, um, uh, Faye Ellington, just to name a few. And I thought, oh gosh, I had died and gone to theatre heaven. And I was performing at the Ward Theatre. So I
Wow.
couldn't have asked for anything.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
that for me,
Yeah, man, that was a
yeah, go
fulfilling
ahead.
experience. Yeah, man, I remember actually seeing you at
Absolutely.
the Ward Theatre because you mentioned that you were a festival baby, so you entered a lot of the competitions. But I would have
Yes,
also seen you going back because when I was a part of the Highgate Primary and Junior High School Boys Choir, and we went to the Ward Theatre back in
therefore.
the day, you were there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I ended up after leaving Edna Manley, after leaving Arden, I went and I worked with the JCDC, right, as a young parish manager back in the day. But because of my skills in theater, I ended up in the production department where I
Okay.
was ever since. So as a result of this, actually being at the ward in my capacity as an actor, working at the ward in my capacity as stage management for the festival, it was really a big deal for me. I mean, I felt like the ward theater was home, and I really hope they get it back together again, and that COVID would go away and we could go back to using that space again. I really miss it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Now, tell us about some of the roles that you've played. Is there any role that you've played over the years, or any particular production that you've been a part of that stands out above the rest? Perhaps your top three, if you would, and why exactly
Well, my
does it stand out? Yeah.
okay, well, my top three would be my first one, which was Couscous, which was the leader of the windscreen posse in the pantomime called Trash, which was back in 1984. So this
Okay.
year, on December 26th, I'm actually celebrating 36 years in theater consistently, because up to last year before the pandemic, I was still working, I was still doing plays. So I would say Couscous would be my first, would be my number one or third role in the order of three. My
Okay.
second would be split between Papacita in the play Schoolers, where I played a school custodian that was selling drugs to the kids. So it's kind of a villain. So it's the first time that when I went to get a curtain call, I was booed by the audience. I was loved and hated at the same time. That has never happened before, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And I would say my third was are we still there? Oh, so I just lost you.
Yes. All right. I am back. I think you're here as well.
Okay, yes. And so I would say my third would be a company would be Papacita. Sorry, the second would have been Papacita, and
Hmm?
I'm gone two or three so far.
You're gone two. That's two. So the first now, the first,
Right.
which one
So
is
my
your
third would
number
be
one?
right. So my number one would be a character I played in a play called What Goes Around, where I played a gardener who was actually disguised as a policeman who threatened this family because there was an affair happening between the gentleman who owned the house and his wife. So I
Okay.
went from a stupid gardener to a totally maniacal gunman slash someone that was there for revenge. So that pulled apart me that I'd never been to that place before. And I have to thank David Hollow for writing such a piece for me to actually act in. So that one for me was the most that would be my number one on the list.
Wow, wow. No, I mean, I'm sure, like many
for
other listeners,
theater.
yeah, they are amazed that, well, the string beans doesn't come up. But tell us now about that role in particular, where mentally
No,
you have
no, you
to.
did say theater. So for
Okay, well,
television,
that's all right. So let's go to television afterward. Let's talk about that role
well,
first, though. How do you get
yes.
in the mental space to adapt to a role that perhaps you have never really thought out? You've never even imagined acting that role. How did you do that, or how do you do it? Because I'm fascinated by it. I've seen
Well,
persons cry on the spot.
what happened was, yes, what happened was, Lenny Little White had written Royal Palm Estate, and of course, Mackie was about to go into his new show, and he said, "Look, I need somebody to replace Mackie. I need another gardener." So he called me in for audition, and he said, "Look, I've written a character called String Beans. You look the part. I don't know if you fit the part. Now, String Beans not have sense, but he pretends not to have any sense, but is in fact very wise for his age and all of that." So I said, "Well, I could do that." So at the time, um, when I got through the audition and went on location, I had bought my eldest son's pants, which was about two sizes smaller, and wore that and his shirt as my first entrance in. Well, on going in there and doing that, my the cameramen were laughing, the costume people were laughing. Nobody could keep a straight face. And that's the time when I was told, "Mike, I think we have a hit on our hands. We now have a character in Jamaica will never forget in the form of String Bean." So in that particular role now, I have laughed, I have cried, I have gone crazy. That that particular role has stretched my entire range as an actor.
Hmm.
There was one point where the famous Pam Pam had almost committed suicide, so I caught her just as she fell from the tree, and I had to carry her like quarter mile from the cane piece where she had done it to the house. And I mean, just the acting as if we're just walking a couple of feet. It felt because of her weight and because of how she was laying dead in my arms. I mean, I felt everything. Right? I had to really dig into my entire being just to make sure that the role was believable. I was crying at the same time. But believe me, between me and you, it was real pain of carrying the load of her in my arms while going through the fact that, is she dead? Is she not dead? I don't know. So we went through all of that. So it really pulled a whole lot out of me to create the role and make it believable for people to enjoy.
How important is that? And what skill produces that? Is it raw passion, or is it what other skill is necessary to cause someone to be able to do that? Because I've always seen actors do it, and I think that they really are doing it, but then I hit myself and say, no, but these people are acting. How do they? What do you dig in to get that out?
No, well, as man, we are taught the technique called emotional memory, where you actually pull for an emotion from your memory. You pull on something that happened in your life that was either sad or tragic, and you pull back for that memory. You literally relive that memory, but you're also taught how to break from that memory the minute you've played that moment. Because even if you're in that zone for that scene, come the next scene, it's another day, something else has happened. You have to learn to break role and not come back in the other scene, still with tears in your eyes and your face swell up and you're still sniffing. That can't happen because
Oh,
it could be days later or weeks later or years later for the next scene. So you have to break role immediately. So you have to learn those techniques in order for you to present a believable character and present the right kind of emotion.
wow, wow, wow. That's a learning moment. Hashtag learning moment. Inside Alive, we're talking with
Absolutely.
Michael Nicholson. You perhaps best know him for his role in Royal Palm Estate, String Beans. Yeah, you best know him for that. But certainly not a limit to his widespread theater career, that spans 36 years, you said, right?
Yes.
36 years. Wow,
Yes.
wow. That's quite a lot. Now, let's talk about those 36 years versus now, perhaps the 35, because COVID kind of mash up one of the year. Then. No, I would say to you, how, or ask you,
Yeah,
how?
so March of last year.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Go ahead, ask me again.
Yeah, March of,
Last
you were
year,
saying
I was
March of
saying
last,
that
yeah, March of last.
up to March of last year, yeah, up to March of last year was my last performance, which was Young and Reckless. We're
Oh,
actually
okay.
doing an
So,
island tour with that play with Jam production. So hence and right at the point where we heard the first case, patient zero came to Jamaica. That's it. Everything literally cut, stopped, died
no.
right then and there.
I've asked quite a few other actors
So
or
it has been
individuals
difficult.
in. You've asked them, how have they coped, how have they managed mentally. Some have even gone as to share, the financial impact and all of that. How has it been for you? How have you recalibrated your day-to-day activities, knowing that you are not going to be in the theaters, and perhaps even worse yet, not knowing when you are going to go back because it's still up in arms.
Absolutely. Well, the lucky thing is I work for the JCDC, or at least used to. So I'm actually retired now. So the good thing is there's that happening. Back in the day when I did theater, I made some very good and very wise investments. So now they're all coming back to me now. So the chickens are coming home to roost. So it has had its good days, it has its bad days. But being a creative, I find different ways to occupy myself, to keep myself active, because I've told myself I'm not going down like that. There are too many things to do. So one of the things I do now, Marie Kondo, who is a Japanese organized person who tells you how to organize corners in your house and all kind of things. I've been pulling down closets, I've been rearranging bookshelves, clothes, the whole works. Right? I've been finding old programs that I have and putting them in categories, putting them in orders, to the point where I've even color coded shirts, pants, and shoes. So I found things like that to do, even
Wow.
so as not to drive myself crazy, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And I had the Oliver Samuels recently just did a play called He Without Sin Cast the First Stone. So we actually shot it in what I think is the new normal, which to shoot the play not as a stage play, but in a real space, in a real house, with real scenes, with real food. So we weren't miming anything. Everything was like doing a movie. So that we just
Oh,
completed that, which cemented another year of actually doing theater work. So I can't say I've had a year when I've not done it, because it went right into this year. So it opened
okay.
on January 1. So it's on pay-per-view on Jamaica Online TV, so you can actually go on it, look for it, and watch it.
Remind me the name of that play.
It's called He Without Sin Cast the
Cast the
First
first one.
Stones.
Oh, okay. All
It
right. All
stars
right.
Oliver Samuels,
That
Wally
sounds.
Dun, Dion Silvera, and Adonis,
That sounds good. That sounds
and I
good. That
directed it.
sounds very good.
So it's quite a
Okay.
star-studded cast.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. What keeps you motivated? Because 36 years is no joke feat. Many persons after 10, perhaps after 20, would have called it a day. What keeps you motivated? Mind you, even in theater, uh, what keeps you motivated?
Well, I think one of the things that happened for me was Royal Palm Estate. In doing Royal Palm Estate, it propelled me into a whole nother audience base. It wasn't just theater people now who were seeing me. It was people from across Jamaica seeing me. Plus, the fact that I had the quote unquote pulling power for theater now, I could now go out and do a play and people would want to see string beans in real life. So I could, in fact, be a part of a show now that having a string beans in it could, in fact, make the marketing richer, make it more interesting, and people would want to see the play and also want to see string beans in real life as opposed to seeing string beans on TV. So that helped too. Plus, there's a love of theater. I've always loved doing theater. And if you love what you do, it doesn't become work anymore. It becomes something that you can't wait to do, and you can't wait for the next project to happen.
Okay, great, 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 great. Certainly understandable. Now, what are some of the other things that you have an interest in? Some of the things that you do in your downtime. You mentioned you're creative. Do you dabble in writing or any other art form?
Yeah. Oh yes, I write. I do write. I do write. I'm writing some stuff right now. Um, I'm getting ready for that point to it onto the world, but not quite ready yet. Um, I like to collect model cars, so that's something I've always done from I was a child. So
Wow.
I still have
In-
quite a few of them now,
How many? What was the
and
collection
there
numbers
are times when
now?
I have to literally take them off, dust them off. I'm at 200 and something now. And some are MIA. They've never been opened. So the seal is still on it. I've never opened it. I like we're talking about over 5 to 10 years that it's never been. So I've never touched it with my own hand. I've just looked at it in the box. But
So
I
it's like
realize there's a whole group of us who are like that, who are into that kind of thing.
oh, interesting. So no, let me ask you. So it's like if someone comes to your house, they understand that this is like the break
Yeah,
front that granny say, oh, you just look on them, you know, touch them.
you haven't touched the glass, not even the glass. Yeah, yeah. So one of the things is sometimes my friends will come with their children and they'll actually sit and see the cars in there and they start bawling under themselves going and say, "There's nothing you can do, child, that will actually even open that that door for you to see or touch any of them." So keep crying because it's gonna right? But I do have a couple that are touchable.
Wow,
There are a couple
wow.
of touchable ones. There are some
Oh,
handleable ones that I can just take down and say, yeah, you can play with this one, or you can have this one. But the minute it's time to leave, can I have it back, please? And
oh.
they start getting to. But could you say thank you so much? Alrighty then. But that's just the
Okay,
the hobby mainly. I like
cool.
stamp collection. That's me and car collection. That's what I do.
Oh, I get that. I get that. Do you follow
So
sports or
sometimes
music?
those
Are
that
you a big
are out of the box. Oh yes. Love sports. I'm liking what's happening with cricket now. Them doing these things in a bubble, and I'm saying I wish they do. Um, I'm looking at all the ways in which we could actually get to do things like that too. I'm glad that the various the ministers of sports and talking to each other about getting sports back on again. I wish they would talk about theatre too, because we would like to have that back on again too, or at least if we can get airtime where we can actually do more drama, more local drama on television, that would be good too.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Tell us about local drama and the landscape. What do you think? What injection do you think needs to happen for it to take another gear, perhaps? Because we have great talent, and I find that individuals really love going to plays and so forth. But what we have has not really broken forth, or in my mind, hasn't broken forth internationally as I would have liked. What do you think needs to happen more? Should we just accept it for what it is?
Well, I think our reality is nobody has seen the money behind film, behind theater. No one's experiencing it. So whereas with DJs and singers and even gospel singers, you next thing you know is you're in a place, you have a whole industry. That hasn't happened with theater. And no disrespect to anybody. It's just a case of I don't think um, people have seen where we're making that kind of money to be out there like that. But I do believe that we do have all the talent that we need here. We have the equipment, we have the potential. It's not like there's no breakthrough. we have been doing film in Jamaica since Errol Flynn has been living here in the 1930s. One of our earliest movies was High Wind in Jamaica, starring Miss Lua Masran, which was shot entirely in Jamaica. Later on, a couple of decades later, we had The Harder They Come. But there have been a whole slew of Jamaican movies since then that have been made, right? It's just that, I guess, because it's our own work, but if the Nigerians do it, suddenly we can't get enough of it. So what we need to do is to start telling our own stories and telling them more often and in your face. And that way, I think our work and our craft will be taken much more seriously. But our problem at the moment is the means to do it, because you got one sector who owns equipment and cameras that will add in with some things. Then you've got the talent out there who think because of who they are, them have to hold hard in there too. And then you've got the producers who determine that they don't really want an actor or a director or a cameraman, they want them friend. So that becomes an issue too. So until we
Mm.
can all find that level playing field, then it's not going to happen anytime soon. So a little man in his
Mm.
corner will do his thing, and it could sell over there, do something over there. Whereas the coming together of the industry there, and we wait on foreign to bring it come to us.
Wow, that's powerful. Very, 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 very great stuff. Wisely said. That's the best answer I've heard because I've asked a few persons in your chair that same question, and by far the best answer I've heard so far. Now, what
Yes,
can we look forward from you? In upcoming years. We all believe that there will be life post COVID. Is there anything that you are thinking of bringing to the fore?
absolutely. Oh, I'm always thinking of stuff, but I know that there's something that people know and love, and rumor has it, I don't want to say too much about it, might be coming back soon. You just never know, right? I would like to see it come back soon, but I'm not calling anybody name or anything name. So I think that for Jamaica has become a benchmark, and I think it's gonna come back. And when it does, there's gonna be a whole generation that never got a chance to see it. There's a whole generation that kept telling you every time I see them on the road that they weren't allowed to see it. And what I find interesting is how we were told that for Royal Palm there was parental guidance, yet none of the content was any different from Bold and the Beautiful or Young and the Reckless, which was
That's true.
shown
It was
every
cleaner.
day just before the news. So I just
It was
don't get
cleaner
what the
actually.
argument is
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So, right? And I don't know since when Jamaican parents obey anything that them see on TV to tell kids not to watch, right? Especially with the advent of Netflix now. Because even when you have a kids section for Netflix, you see them the adult part watching over there, and
Hmm.
nobody's the wiser. Because by the time that big N comes on the screen and they click on the person who's on it, you don't know, and you pass back again exactly what they're watching and who's Netflix. You just see something on the screen and they're just totally tuned into it, although it might be adult content. So what can I tell you? So it was interesting back in the day to hear so many parents saying, "Go to your bed. Royal Palm is coming on TV." And go like, seriously? So I'm meeting big people now. Said I couldn't watch your show because my mommy said no.
But they knew about Brock and others in Royal Palms.
I
In
said when them
in
come, my children to watch it. I felt good being of it. And to see people on Monday saying, "String beans, what you done? String beans, what happened? String beans, you had me on the floor." Just to put a smile on somebody's face for me, my
definitely, 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 definitely. Wow, wow. I mean, can you imagine that we
job
have
is done. Going through.
gr- can you imagine that we have gone the full length of time already? It's been seamless going through half an hour, but that kind of
Oh, darn.
that happens when you speak with great minds and calm intellects. That kind of happens.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us inside Celeb Circuit. You have definitely set a great precedent.
Yeah, and
And
just
many
want to
people,
pick up class of 79.
go right ahead, yeah, man.
Let me just pick up class of 79. Because if I don't, I'm not going to hear the last of it. So class of 79, a great group that's online on WhatsApp. Been catching up with finally linked and we're meeting, hearing about our children and our grandchildren and all of these of three generations. So big up Godfrey Stewart too, and all the wonderful work that my principal down there, Miss Ricketts, Mrs. Ricketts is doing right now. Just want to big up all them and their work. And of course, everybody in theater, this too will pass and we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be out there again and working again.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Michael Nicholson, for joining us inside Celeb Circuit. Big up, big up. Take care.
Thank you for having me, Pastor Dean. Appreciate it. All right, all the best.
Yeah, man. Same to you.
All
Great
right.
chat there with the man they call String Beans, huh? Michael Nicholson. Certainly a great